Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be watching more SolarLight. Today's video is going to be called TF2's Sentry Guns Are 𝘚𝘵𝘶. I cannot wait to watch this. It's been requested by a few people, so I'm sure this is going to be awesome. So thank you so much, everybody that's been liking and commenting on these recent videos, helping out the channel here. I really appreciate it. And with that being said, this is your first time stopping by the channel. Do not forget that sub button, please, and thank you. And if you want to, you're more than welcome to come join me on Twitch. I'll be sure to put my link in the description down below if you want to go hang out with me over there. With all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it.
TF2's Sentry Guns Are 𝘚𝘵𝘶.
I was about to say, that was definitely the Uncle Dane intro.
Wait, hold on. Some of you might take that the wrong way. I'm not saying they're overpowered. I'm not complaining about the balance. Look,
Okay.
I main Demo Man. I don't really struggle against Sentry Guns. I would never have a controversial opinion. Get that off the screen. What I am saying is that they're not very intelligent.
You done incurred my wrath, son.
This was a deliberate design decision. Sentry guns are meant to be powerful when they're protecting their team, or alternatively when it's catching someone by surprise.
Oh yeah.
But a lone sentry gun by itself is meant to be easy to take down by any class.
Okay.
Even the classes that sentry guns are typically strong against. A
Oh.
scout can easily pistol down an unattended sentry nest, or in some cases, he can completely ignore it thanks to certain tools in his arsenal. But you don't even need on-demand invincibility to close the distance. A full Demonite, who is using nothing but his wee booties, a shield, and a
Oh
sword,
man. Dude, so far, I'm loving the editing of this so far. Like, this is pretty good, man.
can
It's pretty
close the
good.
distance with just his charge, completely avoiding damage in the process.
Ooh.
Whenever I show this off,
Okay, that's
a lot
cool.
of people get surprised by this. It seems like a stupid strategy that should never work, but if you get good enough at Demonite, and you're not using a weapon that punishes you for taking risks, it might be worth trying. Sentry guns have perfect aim, and they have perfect reaction times. However, there's one aspect that isn't perfect: turning speed. It's quite slow, and we can abuse this. To make this easier to explain, let's pretend that the sentry gun is a heavy. A heavy can only shoot at players who are near his crosshair. If the enemy is somewhere else, he has to move his crosshair by turning. Most players can flick back and forth very easily, either because they're using a mouse or a controller with motion controls, but a sentry gun might as well be an Xbox 360 controller, because just like an analog stick, there's a maximum turning speed. This makes it easier for enemies to dodge its crosshair, so to speak, rendering it impossible for the sentry to do any damage. This mostly applies in close range though. The further away you are from the gun, the more distance it will need to move. If you
Okay.
don't move enough distance, the sentry gun will catch up, and you'll be turned into a bullet pincushion. Before we move on, I'd like to mention the sponsor of this video, War Thunder, arguably the most extensive vehicle
I
combat
actually
game
tried
of all
it.
time. You like flying around as Demonite? How about a plane? No, not that one. This one. Or this one. Or this one.
Mario Kart.
There's over 2,500 vehicles, including planes, helicopters, tanks, and ships from 10 major nations.
Okay, I haven't played this game, but I have heard of several people playing this
Whether it be
game.
biplanes and armored cars from the 1920s, or today's fighter jets and main battle tanks, Soldier TF2 would be obsessed with this game. Join him and 70 million other War Thunder players and be immersed in the realistic combat experience. If it somehow isn't enough for you, you can try the VR mode. If you're a fan of military history, there's an unmatched amount of content to mess around with. War Thunder is free to play, and it's available on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC.
Alright.
The thing that you're watching this on instead of working? Use the link I've provided to claim a bonus
I was gonna say, the little like Saxon Hill came up behind them.
pack if you're a new player.
Look at him, like, what are you
or
doing?
a returning player who hasn't played in 6 months. The bonus pack includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 silver lines, and 7 days of premium account status. Big thank you to War Thunder for helping the channel out. Now, let's return to the video. Where was I? Oh right, you need to move fast to avoid a sentry gun. A Demonite charge gives you the fastest horizontal mobility in the entire game. Okay, maybe not the fastest, technically, but it's still the most practical and controllable method of moving quickly. At least for
Okay.
this situation. You will want to use the boots for the extra turning control. This is not only important for moving around the sentry gun, it also increases your speed by a significant amount. This is something I've already covered in my extensive charging video, so I won't go over it a second time, but in simple terms,
And I know you guys want me to react to this one as well. This is another one that was well requested. I think it's just called like, yeah, the charge is complicated. This one, and I think there was one called Demonite's best sword, I want to say. Those are like a little bit on the lengthier side, a little bit longer than the usual that we watch. But don't worry, those are definitely on the list to react to as well.
If you charge in the air while charge turning, you go way faster. And this gives the poor sentry gun a much harder time.
Okay.
Explosive jumping is
I can
also
see that,
plenty
yeah.
fast, but a single rocket jump from a standstill isn't going to be as fast as a charge. However, explosive jumping lets you approach from the sky. Approaching the sentry gun from above is important because it forces the sentry gun to look up. After all, the slower turning speed applies in all directions, not just left and right.
Okay.
If you manage
Makes
to
sense.
go directly above the sentry gun, it won't be able to track you. Just like a player, there's a limit to how far it can look up, so it'll need to do a full 180-degree turn before it can start shooting you. And as you can probably tell, even a scout can avoid sentry fire just by double jumping over the crosshair. And it's even easier to do this when you consider some of Scout's unlockable weapons, like the Soda Popper, which grants additional jumps, which is very powerful for obvious reasons. But what does a Demonite do? If you use your charge to get really close to the gun, even a single jump can send you over the sentry's crosshair,
Oh,
preventing it from firing and
what? He's just jumping on and swinging around
even
with
letting
it.
you climb aboard. From
That's
here, you can either
crazy.
circle strafe around the sentry or crouch on it, being careful not to move too slowly. The latter technique is a bit riskier since the engineer's shotgun can knock you off course, but if the sentry gun is placed by a corner or near some obstructions, it might be your only option. Now,
Man,
Demonite
okay.
isn't the only class.
I did not know that you could do that, man. That is crazy. You can just get in a certain spot and make sure you're going around fast and you never get hit by the sentry. That is insane,
Can do
dude.
this. If the sentry gun is positioned poorly, any class can take advantage of a corner or high ground or both. Okay, so jumping works very well, obviously, right? But you might be surprised to learn that crouching is also viable. Trust
Okay.
me, this is more effective than it looks. Sentry guns will only shoot if the crosshair is near a valid target. Usually, this target is the exact center of your body. This means the sentry gun won't shoot if it's, say, aiming at your left toe or your head. That's not the intended target, so it will wait until the crosshair is where it's supposed to be. When you crouch in this game,
Okay, I was like, bro, the placement of that was ridiculous.
the center of your body shifts downwards, and not by a small amount. The sentry gun's target
Oh.
also doesn't smoothly move to the new position, it basically snaps to the new location, which can potentially confuse the sentry gun. Hi, it's me, editing this video. My friend Not in Heavy just cooked up a really cool plugin. It draws a bunch of lines from the sentry gun. The red line is a little wonky and it isn't always accurate, but
Oh.
it gives a decent idea of where the gun is looking.
Okay,
Meanwhile,
that's
the
kind of
green
cool.
line is accurate and depicts where the sentry gun is trying to shoot. It accurately updates itself depending on what the player is doing, which we'll
Okay.
talk about later. Point is, when using this plugin, it's a bit easier to tell what's going on when someone tries to dodge a sentry gun. SolarLight from the past is about to give you an example right about now. In this clip, I charge towards the sentry gun, and it's turning towards me. As soon as it starts shooting me, I jump and it stops for a moment. As I land, it's still looking up at where I was, so I crouch underneath the barrels. Right as the sentry gun's about to shoot me, I uncrouch. The sentry gun's target teleports above the barrels, and it doesn't shoot me. And because I'm not crouched
Wow.
anymore, I can simply jump out of the way while taking no damage.
Wow,
I can now
dude.
melee the sentry gun until it dies.
That's crazy.
The sentry gun's target isn't always in the center of your body though. If you're crouching while airborne, or if you're taunting, the sentry gun will instead target one of your spine bones. Hi, it's me from the future again. I just noticed how large this difference is, and it prompted me to have a second look at things.
Oh.
Turns out, this spine bone abuse is what I took advantage of earlier. When using the plugin, you can see how normal jumps don't change the green targeting line very much, but when I crouch jump, there's a very noticeable difference.
Yeah.
Sorry for spreading misinformation on the internet, back to the video. And in the cases where you're poking your head over something, the sentry gun will opt to shoot your eye level. After all, the eye level is what's used for detecting players in the first place. But since the eye level doesn't always line up with the hitboxes, the game's developers opted to lower the target by a little bit. So keep in mind that the position used for detecting targets is slightly different than the position used for shooting them. This sometimes causes the sentry gun to try shooting a target, even though the target is impossible to hit, because there's something obstructing it. When sentry guns don't have anything better to do, they'll look back and forth. This is not a cosmetic thing. It actually impacts gameplay quite a bit. What else can I talk about? Oh yeah, mini sentries. Word on the street is that Demolite players are pretty scared of these things. Don't be so nervous. They do turn faster than a normal sentry gun, but they don't do very much damage. Maybe if you guys stopped using the Eyelander so much and maybe picked a sword that gives you massive buffs after every kill, you'd be able to go for more risky plays. If you kill the engineer with a half Satoichi, you'll get a massive health buff, which lets you tank the damage for a sentry gun. And if you destroy the sentry gun with a Persian Persuader, the dropped ammo from the sentry gun will refill your charge meter, letting you kill the engineer who built it. In fact, the sentry gun drops so much ammo that you can refill your charge meter twice. A good Demonite player can also effectively disable a sentry gun for his team, since sentry guns always target the closest player. And sometimes you don't even need to bother hitting it.
Dang. That's crazy.
One sentry gun simply isn't enough. You need at least 2 to stop a Demonite.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll end up like this.
And I really like that he's doing, like, well, I mean, I wouldn't say he's doing more, but the last couple we watched have been a little more informational type. Like the first couple of videos we watched sort of like more like showing off how awesome the skills are at Demonite, which is amazing. But the last couple we watched have been like really informational, just like really, really good tip videos. And especially for a player like me that still has yet to do everything in the game, like I'm about to play Demonite for the first time. These are just wonderful tips, man. Just absolutely great tips for someone like me.
Guy.
Why is he mad?
Oh, hell no!
Okay. Oh. No.
Okay, I'm reaching the bottom of the barrel here. Let's talk about Sentry Surfing.
Oh!
Yeah, sentries do a lot of knockback, but this isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes a poorly positioned sentry gun can be a liability, sending enemy players into advantageous positions. This obviously isn't something that comes up often, and most players don't think of using it, but it's always funny when I see a sentry gun placed in a really weird position, and I think, yeah, I'm gonna swap to heavy. Theoretically, heavy gets the most benefit out of this, but since the heavy is slow by default, it's pretty difficult to get in a good position to do it. If the gun is too far away, you're probably going to die before you even get a chance to surf off it. Especially if the engineer isn't stupid. Classes like Spy and Demonite, on the other hand, can get into position way more easily.
Dude, just send them out
especially if
there.
you're using items that grant a health buff. Spy mains who use the kunai really seem to love decloaking on top of sentry guns, and I can't blame them for it. Okay, so why did I make this video? I just wanted to talk about how interesting sentry guns are. When I started playing TF2, I was an engineer main. When your game looks like this, you kind of need a server-sided aimbot to do the heavy lifting. Actually, just recently, I asked Uncle Dane to rate my loadout. Good shit, Dane, that's not a number! Even when I'm playing full Demonite and I don't have a grenade launcher on hand, I don't get very annoyed when I encounter a sentry gun. I actually like the challenge. It's difficult, but it's not unfair or unreasonable. My decisions still matter, and I still have a decent shot at destroying it. It's not like a rock, paper, scissors game where you either win or you lose with no nuance whatsoever. If the Demonite literally had no options against a sentry gun, the whole interaction would be a lot less interesting and a lot less fun. You guys realize this meme was meant for games like Overwatch? You know, games that place a much larger emphasis on countering your opponents, with an overkill number of characters to choose from.
Dang.
And let's not kid ourselves with this, even the Overwatch players don't like dealing with over-the-top counters.
Playing Overwatch is like being in a room filled with 80% chlorine gas. What if someone simply wants to play their favorite hero? I've seen plenty of players who just like Genji, and that's it, and they aren't changing. They can either pick something they don't like and be bored, or risk being that guy who ruins it for everyone else. And the Overwatch team has said that they are trying to move away from hard counters, but why were they in the game in the first place? What's wrong with just picking the playstyle you like and then filling your role, you know, doing your job?
Counters in TF2 were never meant to completely shut down players. They're meant to provide an advantage, nothing more. There used to be a time where if a pyro hit a spy with one flame particle, he'd be set on fire for 10 entire seconds, even while cloaked.
Wow.
This was nerfed a lot, because if you make a matchup too one-sided and give players no choice but to switch classes, it stops being fun. Ever wondered why pyro players hate the Darwin's danger shield so much? It's for that exact reason. Being able to completely bully a player just by equipping one item isn't fun. Sure, you could just stop playing pyro and could play something else that doesn't get affected by a fire resistance, but do we really want that to be the solution?
Do we really want
Of course
that?
not, because TF2 isn't a rock, paper, scissors game. It's a class-based shooter game. I'm sure most people get what I'm saying, but there's probably a few people who still aren't convinced, so let me just say this. This is something that the game's developers took seriously. I'm going to read something that Robin Walker said in an interview. This guy
Okay.
is the co-creator of Team Fortress.
Oh,
The Demolition Man
okay.
had a big bomb. If it blew up before the enemy stopped it, it would destroy a wall, and his team could get through. We didn't keep that concept in TF2, because we kept finding that it was a perfect example of everyone wanting someone else on the team to do that. At a design level, you were constantly torn between providing
Man.
enough value to that type of
What is
situation.
it? Is this Team Fortress Classic or something else? Which I still gotta play. I know there was a few people that said they would like to see me play Team Fortress Classic. I'm thinking about trying it out just to see how different it is.
So that when someone does it, the team is rewarded and happy. But not so much value that everyone feels like, we're screwed if someone doesn't do this, but I don't want to do it, so I'm going to jump into Demo Man, do it, and then flip back to the class that I actually want to play. We didn't like making players make those kinds of decisions. In other words, the game's developers didn't want to strong-arm players into playing classes that they didn't feel like playing. In a casual game mode, where the vast majority of the player base is, the class you choose to play is largely up to your own personal playstyle and preference. Worst case scenario, the team has way too many of one specific
As I say,
class and you choose something
it's at 11 spies.
else. Or not. It's still your choice, right? But an enemy player should never be able to bully someone into switching classes, because that's how you end up with controversial weapons that nobody seems to like.
The only time where you're making a seriously flawed decision at character select is if there's some kind of ridiculous composition on the enemy team that has a massive Achilles heel, and we're talking like multiple players on the enemy team, not just they have this one guy, so play this other guy who beats them.
This is why Sentry Guns are stupid. It's on purpose. Most of what I've shown you is intentional, and it allows all of the game's classes
In
to have
the
a
background.
reasonable method of destroying them. I'm not going to say that they did a perfect job, though. Seriously, what is this? Alright,
Whoa.
time to grab the lock and load from Spawn.
2 on his keyboard.
Oh.
Oh wait, almost forgot. Big thank you
Using the Uncle Nate outro
to
as
Wolf
well.
Wonder for sponsoring the video and helping me out. Don't forget
Oh,
about the bonus
man.
pack I mentioned earlier. It includes everything you see on screen, and it's available for a limited time only, so make sure you take advantage of it, whether it be on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. Special thanks to my patrons, including Anfo, Eve Hawthorne, Hucario, It's Tuesday, Yaroslav and Gluster, MicroX3, and Figod.
All right, I think that was it. Oh. 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 Oh, Okay, dude, that was awesome. Once again, that was by SolarLight, and I'll be sure to put the original video link down below if you want to go watch it for yourself, because that was just awesome, man. I love these videos. SolarLight has done, like I said earlier in the video, he's done like some awesome clips and things showing off gameplay he does for Demonite because he's so good at Demonite, but he also has these informational type videos like this, which have just been fantastic, man. And like I said, there's a few more I do want to watch. I know that there's Demonite's best sword. I know there's one about the charge. I'm sure those are going to be just like this, like really informational. I'm sure they're going to be fantastic, and I cannot wait to jump into them. So if there's anything else you want to see me react to, just let me know in the comments down below. It doesn't have to be TF2. It can be whatever you want it to be. Just let me know. Put it down below, and I'll be sure to put it on the list to make. So that's all I got for you. I will see you in the next video. And do not forget, man, it's Orc Army for life.